things as well. You've talked about AI access, but when you look at similarities or differences between developing, or who does business, in developing countries, what are some of the things that we have to bear in mind when we do business down there, and we roll out AI initiatives?
Yeah, so I like to think of, Homo sapiens, humans, us. We're super resilient. We have survived through many technological disruptions, from the wheel to steam power to automobiles, and this is the latest and greatest. We have an uneven distribution of wealth and development across the globe, and we've had that since time began. So we're not looking at a new problem, and I think we can look and learn from lessons of the past. In developed countries, we have all the infrastructure, we have the AI, we have the skills, and we can really take advantage of those opportunities right in front of us. In the developing world, sometimes you don't have that, or even worse, you have climate fragility, or you have conflict and violence, which is even a tougher problem to solve. And so bringing sort of developed country solutions to developing countries, it's not always a one-for-one match. So you have to think carefully about how you're going to create the policy and the infrastructure so that they can take advantage of this, and hopefully, they can leapfrog, so they can look at the lessons that we have gone through, and instead of maybe going up that staircase of development, they can learn from us and take that leap, and that's what we try to do with some of the knowledge exchange that we provide. Maybe the other thing I would add is that AI for developing countries requires cultural context. And so the solutions that work here may not work there. And so we need to have those in consideration as we build out what we think are global solutions, but may not be global solutions.
That's true. The local nuances and the way that we perceive, also the way AI agents can communicate with us, or generative AI has so much to take into consideration of local nuances. And Anusha, actually I wanted to build on that and ask you about the role of international cooperation, because with your experience at the UNICC, I was wondering, what's your take on the, again, role of international cooperation in providing, again, an ethical and safe and sustainable AI across the globe, and not only in developed countries?
Perhaps I want to tackle the question in two parts, The first one is, how do we support something which is cross-border or cross-functional organizational data? Is the producer of the data owns the data. We start with that first principles approach, right? The ownership of data, understanding the stewardship of data, that's where the first principles of governance starts, So that is the core of how the ethics around this, the AI model that we are building based on this data, the training set that we are going to use to train the model is well intended. It is sort of crafted or trained in the way where it is supposed to do what it is supposed to do. And also the thought process around, are we automating the workflows, or are we automating the decision-making process? If it is automating the workflow, it needs to be sort of handled differently from an ethical lens, But if it is a decision-making workflow, that's where the human-in-the-loop component always comes in. Human gets to override the decision of the AI models. It doesn't matter what the intention of the decision-making workflow would look like. These are sort of first principles of how ethics is being considered in the frameworks that we are using, and the deploying of the solutions that we are deploying for not only our partner agencies, but also to the clients we are responsible in handling their data, and not only the perspective of giving them the security, it is also in the consumer's hand to decide whether the decision of the algorithm is to their sort of need, yes or no. So it is a two-pronged approach in the sense that we have to be thoughtful about working backwards as to what is the purpose of us using this AI. Are we empowering our users or are we making our users efficient? So either sort of needs to have the human first and the human-centric design first. That is the sort of the approach that we are considering when we are operating with an international lens to the data.